Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, elephants, zebras, gypsies, and fairies. And I'm not crying. Well, I have my eyes are watering, but I'm not crying. I just feel awful. I don't get sick. I mean, mm, I just don't get sick. I mean, it's been years. So far, it could be. How do I say? Things could actually be could be worse. Uh, but I thought I was just maybe some allergies or something. That may be what it is. I don't know. My beautiful girlfriend in the other room, she kind of noticed it before me. I mean, anyway, I'm not feeling good, okay? This video actually goes out. Sorry, now I got getting this stuff close to my eyes. This stuff, because I put it on my chest and on my nose, under my nose. I had to move the garbage can over here so I don't have to keep getting up because I ache. But this video actually goes out to somebody I just subscribed to not more than half an hour ago. Her channel is called Music is a Rainbow. I like that. I like the name of that. Fight the cancer. That's the point of this video. It took me almost 2 minutes to get to that, but don't give in to it. Okay? My wife passed away a few years ago. She had breast cancer. And she fought it. She was a trooper. You have to understand New Hampshire is a rural state, a mostly rural state. I mean, there are 2 or 3, 4 cities, but it's mostly a rural state. And New Hampshire, the hospital system here in New Hampshire also covers some people in Vermont and maybe down in Mass, because I see a lot of Massachusetts license plates at the hospital in Keene. When you go up to the main hospital up in Lebanon, which is a several-hour drive, you'll see Vermont, New Hampshire, and Mass plates. I don't care if people from Vermont come here, but those Mass holes need to stay out of New Hampshire. Well, you can come here as long as you don't drive like bats out of hell. I mean, I have a theory as to why people from Massachusetts, excuse me, I don't mean to be gross, why people in Massachusetts behave the way they do up here. And I think it's because there are so many laws, rules, and regulations down in Mass. They get to New Hampshire and they're like, I'm free. I don't have to wear a seatbelt. I don't have to pay a sales tax. I can carry a gun, concealed or open, without a license. I can just, we're very free here. New Hampshire is a very lowercase L libertarian state. But excuse me again. My dad, he also had cancer. He had lung cancer. But he was a 4-pack a day smoker. He was a kid when he started using tobacco. And in World War II, my dad was Canadian. In World War II, he was Canadian Merchant Navy. In the United States, we would say Merchant Marine. But anyway, he ran away from home, And my granddaddy was Canadian Navy. And my daddy, he ran away from home. He was from British Columbia, BC. And he somehow made his way to the East Coast of Canada, where he signed up. And his work in the North Atlantic realm, which was more dangerous than if you were in the Navy, because you were a merchant Navy. You're not supposed to have weapons on board. You weren't supposed to be able to defend yourself. So Nazi U-boats and aircraft would attack you. And there wasn't much you could do about it, so it was very dangerous. You know, they'd rather attack merchant ships, because naval vessels, they could fire back. Merchant ships weren't supposed to be able to do that, although I've seen old film footage of merchant ships that had guns on board. I mean, you know, like deck guns. And actually, my girlfriend Lisa, she suggested I drink a cup of hot tea. It helped. I mean, I'm still, you know, but it made me feel better. And I drank Earl Grey, which is a tea I like, and I put some honey in it. And I like my Earl Grey with honey. Anyway, so my daddy was over in England, and my grandma, she went to her MP, or Member of Parliament, in Victoria, where my dad was from. And she said, "You better I vote for your party, you better find my boy." And he was like, "Yes, ma'am." And he found him, excuse me. And they detained my dad, you know, detaining him in a jail cell. And they were giving him cigarettes. You know, he was only 16, same age as Audie Murphy was. And my dad said, "Well, if you believe that I'm underage, why are you giving me cigarettes and stuff?" Well, if you're from my generation or earlier, geez, before I was even a teenager, I could go into a store and buy tobacco. You can't do it now. This facility I was in Houston, I don't know if it's still there. It's called Houston International Hospital. I was on the adolescent unit, and they had a cigarette machine in there. We used to buy them all the time, 75 cents for a pack of Marlboro Reds. But anyway, my dad got shipped back to Canada, and then later he came to the United States. But my wife, she had breast cancer, and this is the one thing I want to say to people, both men and women, because men do get breast cancer. I don't remember his name, but the man who played the character of Shaft in the Shaft movies back in the 70s, he has breast cancer. Men get it. When me and Carolyn first met, but you know, I felt a lump, and I asked her about it. She said, "Oh, it's nothing." I was worried about it, and once they diagnosed her, she already had stage 4 cancer. I was here at home asleep, and she had gone to the hospital, and I noticed that she pulled up and she parked, and she didn't come inside for a long time. She was out there crying. After that, I never let her go to see a doctor or go to treatments or anything by herself. Ever. And the funny story, she had her mastectomy. Actually, our cat John, after Carolyn had her mastectomy, John would lay over. You know, if you saw John, he's a big boy. He's heavy. He would lay right over the scar area, and he would purr. She thought it was very soothing and comforting. She liked that. And you know, I keep getting messages on Facebook to change my cover picture. I ain't changing it. I'll change my profile picture, but I ain't changing my cover picture. It's me and Carolyn at our wedding. Right now I have a picture of my dad's headstone. And although my dad lived most of his life in the United States, and mostly in the U.S. Army, he did do some years in the Navy, but he went from the Army to he went from the Merchant Navy to the Army, to the U.S. Army, to the U.S. Navy, to the U.S. Army. And my dad passed away on his birthday in '82, a month after my 18th birthday. People on both sides of my family die on birthdays. My mom, her family is from North Carolina and Virginia. And I had a great uncle. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be gross. I had a great uncle in North Carolina who was hanged 100 years and 1 week before my birthday. My granddaddy, my dad's dad, died on my dad's birthday while my daddy was in Vietnam. Sadly, I don't remember meeting my granddaddy, but at least my dad and granddad got to see each other before he passed away. He was really sick. If you look at the pictures, he was really sick. Oh geez, it was only a few months after my dad went to Vietnam too. And then my dad went there, I think, in December of '66. And no, it was 66. And he left, you know, I think the tour of duty at the time was like a year and some months. And anyway, I'm not feeling good, so my brain is kind of scattered. After my wife passed away, I took an empty cat food bag, like a 35-pound bag of cat food, or not of cat food, but a bag. I filled it up with her yarn, and I took it to, not all of her yarn, I still have some of her yarn here in the house. And I took it, actually, Lisa, my girlfriend, she uses some of it. And I'm glad it's being put to good use. And I took it to the hospital in Keene and donated it to, you know, to them in case, you know, because it was the oncology unit. A lot of people don't realize, but not everybody gets chemo. My wife was on hormones, I believe, by IV, and I think we had to go once a week. I don't remember. And we spent the last 3 nights together. Now I'm afraid of hospitals. I don't like them. I don't want to go. I have to have some serious surgery. I don't want to do it. It's kind of like everything kind of piles on at one time. When my mother was pregnant with me, I have a picture, and she was very pregnant, and this was in Spain, and Because my parents lived there for a few years before I was born. And my parents wanted me to be born in a Spanish hospital. You know, I was born a dual citizen, a Spanish and U.S. citizen, but they wanted me born in a Spanish hospital, so they went and looked at hospitals in Sevilla, mainly in Sevilla. And I guess Americans say Seville, which burns me to no end, because there actually is a village or a town that is west of Madrid called Seville, single L, but Sevilla, double L is pronounced like a Y or an E. But they looked at the hospitals, and they're like, "There's no way in hell our child's being born in any Spanish hospital." Maybe in Madrid there would have been a good hospital, but you know, a lot of the people in the government, they went to France or Germany for medical care, or England, even the United States, Switzerland. They didn't get health care in Spain. Or they brought a doctor from out of the country. So fight it. You know, don't give in to cancer. Fight it. Nutrition helps. You know, eating right. The medicines. The cancer didn't actually kill my wife. It was all the drugs they were giving her that killed her, which really pisses me off because they should have known better. And the oncologist that she saw, I think, was a freaking idiot. And I still played around in my head if I should sue that guy. I mean, he was a nice guy, but I think he was a freaking idiot. Once we were over, she was getting her treatment, and she had a really bad reaction. I was sitting there next to her, I was reading, and I looked over at her because, you know, I would keep an eye on her, make sure she was okay. And she was blood red. She was freaking blood red. And I got up and I said something to the nurse, and she said, "Well, I already buzzed the nurse." And you know what that doctor did? Doctor sent her down to the ER. I'm like, hold on, you're giving her the drugs, and you're right here, and you're a doctor, and you're a specialist, you're an oncologist. You freaking deal with it. Don't send her down to the freaking ER. I didn't say it, but that's how I felt, and that's how I feel. I still have a couple of years before I'm not able to file a lawsuit. I think our doctor did a great job what she could do. I still see the same doctor. Excuse me. But anyway, fight it. You know, fight the cancer. Don't give up. Don't give up. Sorry this took almost 20 minutes.